Hi, this is Straight from My Roots with Anastasia. And the show where we talk about people's roots. So today we have our guest, Kirk. So, hi Kirk.
Hey, sweetie, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
So, let's talk about music. Okay, so what's your favorite type of music?
You know, I'm just kind of multidimensional when it comes to music. I'm not a metal guy, very little country, and everything else I'm kind of okay with, okay? Mm-hmm. But I'm a jazz guy, R&B, obviously, you know, and those are my favorites. I can do a little rock, depending on where it is and what kind of rock it is, as long as it's not hard.
How did you get into this type of music?
I've always been into music. I grew up in a household where, when my mom graduated from college, she graduated from college at the age of 20 from Wiley College. She was a music major. Mm-hmm. She was a piano and soprano. Mm-hmm. And so when she told me, she said, when I walked across the stage, baby boy, I was pregnant with you. Uh-huh. Yeah, so I've got that gene. And throughout my mother's family, that gene has expressed itself many times with the creative piece. We've got art, as in drawing and painting. We've got writing that have gone pretty big in television and books, etc. And then we have music as well, and acting as well.
Do you play an instrument?
She was a music teacher, and the biggest regret of my life is that she taught everybody in the neighborhood how to play the piano. But her son was convinced he was going to play football. So he said, I'm not going to do that, Mama, I'm not going to do that. I played the saxophone for a second, I played the clarinet, I played the drums, and I gave it all up in the 8th grade. And it's the biggest regret of my life when I stopped playing my instrument, because I love music more than anything. So my dad wasn't musically inclined, but mother was a musician. He wants to quit band in the 8th grade because I want to play football. I was going to be a professional football player. He said, believe me, it's going to be one of the biggest regrets of your life. This was in the 70s. Walking to places now, I wish I could just blow that horn. And I really wish I could do that. I regret that he didn't do that. He said, you want to quit? I'm going to let you quit, but it's your decision. I wish they had made me continue. Because it's one of my greatest love is music. Yeah. It paints my world. It paints my, you know, I can be down in the dumps, put the right song on, it's over. Be happy, you know. Yeah.
Whenever you think of music, what do you think about?
Well, for me, music has been it empowers me, because it takes me back, you know. Listen to the tunes are literally the catalog to my life, because it brings it all back. Lots of profound and heartfelt memories exist around music, you know.
Have you ever been to a concert?
A couple of them.
Who's your favorite singer?
Sometimes my wife or my friends will be like, wow, what's going on, Doc? What's going on, Doc? You got brain is kind of crazy. It's kind of me, man. I'm back in 1968, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm in 72. Jerry Butler just recently passed. We listened to Ain't Understanding Mellow. I remember my old man was there, you know what I'm saying? When I was growing up. Let me do this in stages. As a kid, when I was growing up in stages, you know, as a kid, you know, J5 was my deal, you know. Mike and I were the same age, basically. I remember the first time I ever heard them sing. The first time I ever heard I Want You Back. It was in October of 1969 in small town America, Marshall, Texas. I'd gone around the corner to get my hair cut. Back in the day, the barbershops had a little garage built out on the side of their house, and all the fellows would get in line and get the haircut. But in the meantime, they play basketball or whatever while they're waiting for their time, for the next time to get in the chair. Well, this particular time, I was at Mr. Clark's house. He had sons. Most of them were a little older than me. So I distinctly remember I wanted to play basketball, but the big boys were playing basketball. And so I sit on the side, and I was waiting to see if I can get in the game, waiting on our time to get in line to get a haircut. So Mr. Clark's son came out, Ricky Joe. Ricky was 4 or 5 years older than me. Back then that was a big deal, because I was 3rd grade, 4th grade, you know. Ricky probably was 6th or 7th grade, so that was a big deal. He walked out on the porch. He said, Kirk, come here, I want you to hear this little boy singing. I said, what? A little boy singing? And he said, yeah, come inside. He said, I said, is he inside? He said, it's a record. I said, what, a record? A little boy singing? Never in my life had a kid ever been recorded on record. So I walk into the living room, I sit down. I remember what the room looked like. All the furniture was covered in plastic. You know, the old school, old folks can remember this, how the living room furniture was engulfed in like a plastic to keep it fresh. I walk in, nobody in the living room but me, Ricky, and the record player. He dropped that needle down on I Want You Back, and I could not believe I was hearing a kid sing like this. Never in my life had I ever heard a kid sing. Blew my mind. So, Ricky, play it again. Ricky, play it again. So a couple of days, I had their first album. I got the album and followed all of them. So at that time, Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 was my favorite. I can honestly say that I'm really not a jealous person. The only person I can recall were two guys that I was jealous of when I was a kid. The first one was Michael Jackson, because we were the same age and all the girls were like, oh! The brothers didn't have a chance, right? And then there was another guy, Marshall, when I was growing up, a guy named Larry Green, had the perfect fro. As we were growing our fros out, he had the perfect fro. So anyway, as we moved on, of course, Seal, one of my favorites, Sade. Now my all-time favorite is Stevie Wonder, male vocalist. All-time favorite female vocalist, Chaka Khan. And then there's always my dog, who I love to death, that influenced me more than anybody, George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic. So yeah, we did that. So it's not one, it's many, you know.